Yeah. Go GoPro.
So have you seen any numbers pop up?
3 popped up when we came around the corner. 48.
Nice and easy going, right?
I think so.
Make sure you're recording. Yep, good to go.
Yeah.
Again, slower the move. You know, a lot of people, when I have my groups at 10, even like on a Friday, Saturday, busy night, somebody will just find a corner and just slowly peruse it. Like, just go back and forth as slow as they can. That's usually the easiest and best way that you can find any kind of anomaly. And what I've found so far with that guy are little orbs, or I actually have one that's probably as big as my head that's actually coming right at me and then goes up. Like, complete, like, oh, crap, Nick's right there. Let me go this way. Like, it was intelligent. Like, it stopped and turned. Like, kind of craziness. Jesus. So, pretty cool stuff. And it was caught by somebody just holding it perfectly still on me while I was showing somebody how to do something else with a different device.
Oh, wow.
So, you got it. And once you get comfortable with that, maybe at the next location, I'll get you that Ouija board out, because it looks like you can handle 2, even when you got pockets too.
Yeah.
It's a pretty chunky device.
Okay.
So, it's not heavy, but it's definitely chunky.
Yeah, got little hands. Oh, lots of them.
Don't think so.
Lots of them.
No,
what is that?
I don't know.
Just nothing.
That. Are you not cold?
I feel like Dad would be the haunted one.
That's 5.0 over here.
Mm-mm.
and not an evangelist. All right, let's bring it to the back. Let's kind of go over what I'm excited about.
Do I pause mine or do I keep
Yeah,
it?
you can pause it.
Alright.
Give your head straight. At the same time, with your camera, point it one way or the other. Just keep in mind that this is kind of a staple for any other ghost tour. I haven't seen anybody else work in the night, so just be mindful of other tours coming through if they do.
Okay.
This is Philadelphia Alley. This is what we call it now, but it used to be called Dueller's Alley. This is where some of the shooting duels used to take place back in the day.
Yeah, it's a straight alley. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So, we all tell the same story. However, I tell the story a little bit differently because you're going to get more facts and clues out of me, more so than the campfire stories that the other tours actually tell. So let's get into the actual history. This, I was trying to look at the word that you're trying to show me. Okay.
Trying to make sure I don't put the microphone against my. Does that matter where the mic is?
What mic? Oh, it doesn't matter.
On
It's not
the
recording
phone.
anything.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No, it's just recording the word list for us. I was wondering why you kept spinning it around.
I didn't know. Could it go in my pocket then?
Yeah, it can go in your pocket.
He just made me so happy. Go ahead.
There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. You're going to be looking for the initials RI. Like RI shows up in another way too, so that's why it's from, obviously it's a big deal in this location. But the doctor's name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So kind of keep that in mind because the full name will show up. We don't get a whole lot of rem down here, just so you know, but if you do
It
get
shows
any
off.
numbers, definitely let me know if you get anything like above a 4.
Yeah.
That would be a baseline for this location.
Okay.
But Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She's an attorney, helping her out with all of this cash that she just got. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So from Rhode Island, he moves to Charleston, and the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay here. However, somebody was walking by with the name Ralph Isaacs with the initials RI. So again, 2 different characters of the story. We need a secondary clue to verify who it actually belongs to in the event that it actually shows up. So Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy, he's going to try to kill you. I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, rent a room, and you'll be good to go. Dr. Ladd takes him up on the offer, and him and Ralph become friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's money. Amanda gets wind of this, and she's moving down soon, which means they're going to be getting married. Dr. Ladd knows this, and he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. It's a guarantee. I'll put my paycheck on it. We do have proof of this one. I'm getting to it. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because Dr. Ladd makes more money. He gets better seats, just the way the hierarchy works. So they talk about the plays on the way home. One night they're talking about the Richard III that they just saw and the new actress that was in the play. They had never seen her before. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph, not so much. They start arguing, but then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island, and they go their separate ways, pretty pissed off. Ralph, having friends here, goes to see his friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of, you're a disgrace to society, sir. Dr. Ladd sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueller's Alley. We're going to settle this once and for all. So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. Ralph has 1 shot. Anybody want to guess on where he put it?
Right in that guy's
Got his ass.
His kneecap.
Oh.
So he proved his point that he's still pissed off and not willing to forgive. Dr. Ladd didn't die. He falls to the ground. His friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 or 4 days later, depending on which version of the story you're reading. The death date is always the same, of November 2nd. So, they say, as you actually, oh, by the way, he also refused medical treatment. He's a doctor.
he's
He
a
probably
doctor.
tried to bleed it out himself. Would have been lead poisoning, not actual surgery. So, the other ghost tours are always telling people to listen while they're down here because you can hear the whistles from the doctor. We are using a voice recorder, so while we're down here, obviously pay attention to anything in the background. But I do want you to keep in mind that all locals know this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or
whistle.
Queen throws a
Oh,
whistle
whistle.
down the alley.
I love it.
Now, across the street from where she went to the restroom is my garage, which means I have to pass this alley every single night on the way back to my car. I throw a whistle every single night down here ever since I got kicked out of here. Let me tell you how I got kicked out, because that's the fun part of the story. This alley, couple of things. Didn't always come all the way through, which means those bricks down there are older. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's one full handprint and fingerprint swipes in those bricks down there. My groups, when I used to take them all the way down to the end, would always try to get a reading out of one of those bricks, especially the one with the handprint in it. I treat that handprint brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. So I'm trying to shoo them along because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. Tour guides are not allowed in residential areas, and I wasn't necessarily keen to that fact at the time. So that was November 26th of 2020. Yeah, very specific date. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management for over 20 years, mainly for Walmart. You guys can feel my pain now. Now, the next day was November 28th. I got a phone call asking me to go down halfway or to reroute my group. I decide I'm going to just stay clear of the guy. I'm going to tell the story out there and then reroute my group. What I told my group that night was I didn't even believe in the story that we were going to go to next because I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. We're going to be discussing pirates. So before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. And I went, damn. I did not tell them we were going to be discussing the female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I went, okay, we'll see what happens. I told what little bit I did know about piracy when we got up there. Somebody else heard the number 300, and I didn't know what that meant in real time. The next day, I'm doing the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I went, damn it, now I gotta read books on pirates. What we're going to be discussing next is going to be pirate lore. However, I want you to keep in mind, as a master's in creative writing, be lucky that that's the degree that I hold. Trying to piece together a factual investigation on pirate lore is very tricky. So, it's a very interesting story, if anything else. It is a hit or miss location because Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town. It is a cool spot. Remember the orb I told you about earlier with the big as my head? That'll be the place where I caught it. So, one last thing before we go. The gate. The reason why I stop here. I know, I talk a lot. It is kind of a creepy gate. Now, the wrought iron was put there probably in the early 1900s. However, the doorway has been here since the Dueler's Alley days. Remember I told you that the alley didn't come all the way through? This used to be where they held the livestock. It was called Cow Alley before Dueler's Alley. But during Dueler's Alley, this was a shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of the wall in the event that there was a loser, meaning somebody who actually died. Otherwise, they'd have to walk all the way down the Queen Street, you see the length of the alley, and go down and around to get over to St. Philip Cemetery. So, not many people actually know why this gate is actually here, but the gate was put in, 100 plus years later. So, we're going to exit the alley in the exact same fashion that we actually came in, because we're not going to go all the way through it. We're going to let these people kind of pass right through us, though. Did you bring us coffee? It's cold.
Just us go.
Enjoy.
With hot chocolate.
We gotcha.
So, we're going to go up. We're going to be discussing crazy pirate lore and see what's going on up there. Continue listening. You can continue recording for a good period of time now.
Okay.
Just keep it running. Any initials or any letters show up on your device at all? Nothing. So we're going to turn up your sensitivity a little bit. We probably had it turned down too low. And did you get any numbers out of yours?
Nothing over 3.3 or something.
Okay. And any words out of yours?
Inevitably.
Inevitably.
As.
I also look at that as initials.
Oh, I said field draft. I didn't see that one.
I don't know Amanda's last name. Fiance.
Well, we had Round Rhonda. I thought that was interesting when you were talking about Rhode Island.
Yeah.
But maybe like.
Well, here's the thing: is like yours might give us the word island, and we might have the word road over here. The messages can be combined all the time.
Much.
I got a Z.
I got nothing out of this, but it doesn't mean it's not there. Let's head over to the Powder magazine. It's got some crazy pirates radar.
We went to the magazine, Corey. That little museum. Well, no, that might be farther down.
No, it's the same place.
Okay. The little museum. Remember with the lead downpipes for the gutter?
Yeah, you didn't want to go in there. It was like the oldest house in.
Well, it's a
It's the
powder
oldest
magazine.
government building that we have.
Yeah. It's like
thing's
$25
popping
to
up.
go in.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Really?
No,
$25?
it wasn't. It was like
Like $5.
$6 or something. Yeah. It was almost closed. It was only open for like 4 hours.
Yeah, They're not open for very long during the day.
No, it was almost closed when we were there.
You got something in each hand.
I do.
Did you fall?
My hands have,
Do you want me to help?
they have gotten used to the tray.
What can you give me?
Is it warm? Okay.
CL. Church. That's next.
Adrian? Was it? Adrian?
Yeah, this building right here, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
You walk into the church here and
You see the lead, the gutters right there?
see,
Made of lead.
as soon as we walk through the, oh, they're giving me chills.
What?
I'm gonna have to
As soon
reset
as we
it.
walk
This
into
I'm
the
gonna pull list.
said St. Philip's Church here.
RD
Yeah.
is like
Saved.
Rhode Island. No.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
I heard
It's a little bit of a stretch.
See the lead that they used to put under the, and it's a lead down.
I know, you get a happy little death
It's
song.
exciting.
More
It's a death song.
Little death tune. Alright, so, Powder Magazine. We're here for a couple of reasons. First off, this is one of the places where Anne Bonny is said to be seen, and let me explain why. This held gunpowders for 7 different wars and 1 rebellion, by the way. Like, this is a very cool building. It's the oldest government building we actually have. Those crosses are not crosses, they're earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with earthquake bolts, they're basically turnbuckles. So in the event we have another earthquake, like what we did in '86, like we haven't, because we haven't had one, you could turn those turnbuckles to stop the building from getting any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the reason I bring these up is because this is the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in because of the age of the building and exactly what it is, the oldest government building. So we're here because Anne Bonny came to Charleston during the time of this building's construction. This would be something I would call a familiar ghost. So it's kind of like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same type of principle. So building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? Yeah, not at all. 1708 is where the story begins. So there's a lot of twists in this, so I'll slow down on the twists so everybody grabs them. Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack at the time. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. What'd you hear?
So, when we were walking before we passed this road right here, I heard the Irish town.
Irish town. See? This is why.
You gotta
You
yell
gotta
it
tell me
out.
all the little things that you hear, no matter what you think it is.
Irish town.
What else are
Irish
you
town.
holding back?
Well, mine says kiss. Kiss the Irish.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Oh.
I would be more interested if it actually had the city where she was raised, which
Was it?
we've had that here, which of course I'm not going to tell you. But
Jud-
anyway,
Judgment or guarantee wouldn't be any of those. Huh? Checking.
no.
Okay.
All right. So she moves here, father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. You guys with me so far on this?
Okay.
Okay, hold on a
Yeah.
second.
There's obviously a scandal. The 3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife. You see where the scandal falls into play now? Yeah. Okay. I slow down on that one because if I say it too fast, everybody looks at me like I have, 6 heads.
Yeah, they
So-
gotta do the math.
Yeah.
They go, hold on a minute.
Hang on. So I just slow it down. But anyway, they land in Georgetown, that's just north of here between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That leaves, he has to send young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation to help keep things afloat. Familiar building, which is why we're here. However, let's talk about Anne for just a second back home in Ireland. They say she was kind of a badass all on her own, even when she was a little girl. 7, 8, 9 years old. Again, pirate lore, 7, 8, 9, no exact number. They say she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. We have gotten servant, knife, and belly, and an age all in the same evening, just so you know. However, fast forward, building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through Charleston in 1715. Anne is stoked. She's going to fall in love, so that way she can earn her freedom, just like a man. Yeah, because it was a man's world. You like the Happy Death song. You keep dancing
I
to it.
know. It's fun.
First guy she falls in love with. Yes, I said first because there's a handful and we are going to go through them. They are all very relevant. So first guy is James Bonney. You already see where this one's going because we've already said Anne Bonny's married name. So Dad didn't approve. Filthy pirates. They go to Jamaica, get married. Anne Cormac, now Anne Bonny, realizes that this guy is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy is a privateer. He's a spy for the British. This is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Calico Jack is literally the person that they based your Johnny Depp character off of for the movies. So this is the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for, and she falls in love. She wants to be part of his crew. You can't put a girl on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why?
They think it's bad luck.
Right. Thank you for keeping it family friendly. So I get a lot of weird answers to that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe half the answers I get at that.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm sure a lot of other things, but they definitely
oh
think
my
it's
God,
bad
I
luck.
had one guy, this was a few
Call
months
it
ago.
out in front of
They literally, one guy just screamed, he goes, rape?
Like, no.
Did you not watch Pirates of the Caribbean?
He makes a deal with Anne that if you dress like a guy and look like my crew, you could be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, it's a man's world, let's go. But let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl.
Yeah,
So he drops her off in
probably not.
Cuba. Go have the baby here, they'll help you out, come back later and we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. I can't find it. I've researched I don't know how many sets of resources. But anyway, she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. And while she was gone, one of the reason he's angry is because they're all going to know that she was a girl and he let her on the crew. He captured another pirate crew while she was gone, giving birth to his baby. She's going to go flirting with that pirate crew just to make him even more mad because that's who Anne is. Now, guy number 3, in case you guys lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be a part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. Did you get that one? I seen you kind of
I
focused.
did.
So, now we have 2 females on the same ship trying to be pirates. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So, her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers, we're not going to really know for sure, but the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary, rumor had it, that they were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks. Probably because they didn't know how to use cannons yet. They weren't pirates for very long. So, obviously 2 ladies are not going to take on a whole fleet of ships. They get arrested. She looks at her beau, her captain, as they're being arrested, and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog and dog barking has shown up here plenty of times.
I just
in the
got a
past.
D. That's kind of cool. Okay.
Kind of.
Kind of. It was a stretch, but it's kind of cool. It happened right when he said it.
It did. So, the judge, he wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried to hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone 2 days prior. The 2 ladies go in front, they reveal their gender. He doesn't give a shit that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted out, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging until after their pregnancies, but Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails her out, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, guy number 4, in case you're because we're going to count Mary Reed.
And was she pregnant the second time?
We don't know. She has 4 children from that marriage and dies at the age of 84. That's all we know. Anything that's factual anyway. We don't even know where she fully resided. If she stayed here in South Carolina, other rumors say that she went up to Virginia or West Virginia. So take that for what it's worth. We don't really know much about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed died a year later, 1721, from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. So again, she stayed in jail and that's where she died. So most articles and books will tell you that it was, some kind of fever. I'm going to call BS on that one and say it's probably, scurvy and nasty and gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, so use your own imaginations and make it romantic for yourself. So, 2 questions I left out of this place. Everything else is fair game. She's a pirate. We don't have to tiptoe around her. I left out the names of the parents. That's the father and the mistress. So again, you can ask either one of their names and hopefully we'll get them. They normally show up together, just so you know. The other thing I left out is the name of Calico Jack's ship. So try to find out what the name of his ship was without using Google. It's very specific, so we'll actually see if it actually pops up.
Not the Black Pearl.
No, it's definitely not the Black Pearl.
Definitely.
Just throwing that out.
Come
The heated
on.
warning that I give you guys at the top of the tour mainly comes from this space. Granted, psychics and mediums normally don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site because of the high EMF that goes on there. But a year ago this past September, I brought a group to the back. I normally go to the back when it's busy out here because the other tours cut through. The kid next to me literally goes white as a ghost, and he's about to drop and faint. I had to pick him up by his armpit to get him to stop from hitting his head on the ground, and his boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We got him over to this wall to sit down, bottle of water, feeling better. I spread everybody out. This used to be like my big finale, like the big pirate story. So I spread everybody out. They go have fun. Them two pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary in the story, on my tour, and didn't realize it until we were actually here. And it made complete sense as to why one of them felt faint the minute we entered the space, because we came in from across the street that way. So these are the things that I see why I give that heated warning. Luckily, I didn't have to call the paramedics that night, but again, I've had to call the paramedics plenty of times from paranormal things happening to psychics. So kind of keep that in the back of your brains. We are going to spread out in this location, so obviously we're going to be relatively close to the powder magazine. We're definitely going to use the motion, so yeah, get that button pushed. The cool thing about yours, Steven, is that you can actually ask Ann Bonnie what her hair color was, and hopefully she'll show you by giving you the color on your LEDs up there.
Okay.
We've had it here in the past, but you're going to work on it the same way. The closer you get to these bushes to my left, your right, we're going to have an electrical pole here in the corner and over there in that corner.
Okay.
Also, we have the parking meters on the other side of these bushes. The closer you get up here, you're going to get 3 to 5, just so you know on your milligauss. Anything back there is normally where I'm more interested in getting a reading. So let's get these things up and running pretty high, and let's see what we can capture. Let's see what we got going on.
Let us break.
I heard she's a woman.
A lot of like pronoun, like female pronoun type stuff around here too. So be mindful of that. A common song here is "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." So you get that all the time.
That one was like, yeah.
I can usually board coming.
MOHS.
I know if you get another H out of that.
Alright.
Okay, never mind. The I just came up.
Wow, this is fucking.
That one stood out.
He
He was married.
He was buried.
That's creepy as hell.
Probably somebody's house.
Yeah, right?
Monsignor.
Guessing her hair was blue, Steve.
It wasn't blue, it was purple.
Oh. Gibberish.
Gibberish? Jibber jabber jibber jibber. See? See? Pink.
Yeah.
And there's blue. And blue again. And pink. Tons of pink.
Don't know. Anything going on with your
I'll tell you
Ouija?
that my husband's
No,
dad
I
had a
reset
drop
it.
foot
It's been quiet
on his
recently.
left foot from a back when he went down on the helicopter.
Oh, my wife has CMT and drop foot, so I know
Okay,
exactly.
So you know what that is, yeah. And so he got to the point where he couldn't even walk.
Yeah, my wife uses braces. She's been on them for 20
Yeah,
plus years.
Papa
Yeah,
had
he
braces,
had
too,
braces.
so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Interesting.
Very.
Crazy.
See, and there's been nights where it doesn't matter what history I'm telling. If I have a vet on the tour and they lost somebody overseas, it's all about that buddy they lost. I can't tell
happens.
you.
Yeah.
It just so happens. All right, nothing crazy is going on with the pirate lore. So, Greg, come on over.
Hair red.
He's
It
jamming.
was red, but all I
That's
could
what I
get it to do
figured.
was purple.
But I
And it
just
kept
got that from
staining on
Iris. There was
purple everywhere I
nothing.
went.
She wanted it to be purple.
Maybe she did want it to be purple.
Maybe she did. All right, let's go over the very quick answers, and then the last stop we're going to is the stop where I don't know everything. So that's the experimental stop. So that's where you guys are going to hopefully teach me a few things about that location, and it's actually a pretty good creepy story. I know we've been dealing with like pirates and duels and plantation owners, but now we're going to be dealing with this crazy author. Like, he was, yeah, kind of a cool story to end on. All right, so Anne Bonny, one of the few pictures you can find of this woman with a shirt on. Reason why
Exciting.
is because she used to bare a breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman.
Yeah, love it.
And
Nice.
she was from Cork, Ireland. So I was waiting for the word Cork to show up on your word list, since he heard Irish town, almost like very specific. It wasn't Ireland, but you heard Irish town. So
Yeah.
which Irish town? Cork is what I was hoping to find on the word list. The names of her parents: William Cormac, Mary Brennan. Oftentimes, the person with the spirit box, or the one that you're using, will come up to me and say, "Is it William and Mary? I just heard the names William and Mary together." Yes, it was William and Mary. Calico Jack. I always like to show you guys what they base Johnny Depp off of, because this is the guy. So he's called Calico Jack because of the jackets he wore. They came from British captains that he killed. His father was a tailor, and textiles were very important to, obviously, him and his dad. Calico Jack, fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. I don't expect you to hear Kingston on a radio station from Charleston. However, the word king would actually suffice on a word list or a spirit box. I do have other spirit boxes that pick up more disembodied voices than the one that you're using. I would expect the word Kingston to come out of that. So, those are the very brief answers. You guys are getting more things relative to David, apparently. Like, this is getting a little, like, more towards, like, you guys just came out here to communicate with lost family members. So, which is fine by me, because, again, I never...
Whatever it works, yeah.
Well, I've never heard the word shinning. It's not shining, because shining would just be S-H-I-N-I.
You also have to remember that the guys who wrote that are programmers. They're not writers. They probably meant shining and couldn't spell the damn thing. There's a couple other misspellings in there, too, that I caught. I'm like, because I've like, Googled, like, what the hell does this mean?
Yeah.
And
it's like, it's not a word.
Oh, it's not a word. It's like, yeah.
It misspelled it.
Nothing.
Like, kick them in the shins. It's called shinning.
Never gotten shinned.
I'm standing on that one all day long.
Alright, so you can stop your video, because we're going to be walking about...
Yeah.
Perfect.
Again, I should have just shut up and let you guys just investigate the whole city. So, just about a week or two ago, can't remember the exact date, but somebody brought one of those stick figure cameras that I was showing you guys earlier, an actual one. We had 8 minutes of interaction while we were standing right here. And when I say interaction, it was like, "Henry, is it okay if I read this last stanza of your poem? Please raise your right hand." Back down again. It was things like that. The cool thing is when you guys get your data back tomorrow, your data stays on my website for an entire year. I don't hide anything. It's all there. And all the significant, investigations for that month are listed at the top. And if it's something significant like an SLS, it'll say December 4th SLS interaction for 8 minutes. That way you can go back and you can go see it for yourself. And I leave the markers up there so that way you guys can check things out. Have fun. This is our last stop, so let's spread out. I'm definitely going to see how high you can get that number. I got to write down 15, and you heard what now? What was the phrase?
Heart.
Heart.
And then I just heard burn.
Heartburn.
Not really.
Got us recording.
Yes. Believe so. NP, no problem, he says. Hello.
Hello, baby. No. 1, 3, 4, stuff like that, but nothing.
And the weird thing is it's happened to 3 different people.
No. I've only gotten one vowel in like 2 different sets.
Okay.
Trying to make words, I cannot.
You got anything relatively close?
Not really. I've gotten CEK a couple times.
CEK.
Which to me, I don't know, it stood out. Following.
Alright. Let's head over to this bench over here.
The last thing I heard over there was hatred and anger. I don't know if that's pretty broad.
Yeah. I had Greg looking for the wife's name and the son's name, and I thought we might even get, the son's birthday, and I did